So we are getting closer and closer to Nintendo's E3 2021 Direct presentation, and with that you are seeing more rumors and more leakers pop up on the internet claiming they have specific information around what Nintendo is planning this year, and also some information we can even expect before E3 and then maybe after E3. So in today's video, I want to round up all the newest leaks and rumors that are out there and talk about what we can expect as we walk forward into E3 2021. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. Now guys, today we're kind of doing a rumor roundup video, or a leak roundup video if you will, about Nintendo and their E3 Direct presentation, and also what we're going to potentially get as we walk into this presentation, because we now have a couple different leakers that are claiming that we will actually get a Pokemon Presents or a Pokemon Direct of some sort before we actually see Nintendo do their E3 presentation. And I do tend to believe this rumor or leak because I don't think Nintendo wants to take the time to focus on some of the Pokemon games we already know that are announced when they are looking to blow out the E3 presentation with a bunch of new announcements and new gameplay. So I do think that it makes a lot of sense for the Pokemon company to kind of handle their own Direct ahead of time. And so with that, we have this rumor coming originally from Helios FR, who is a very credible leaker in the Pokemon community, and he has claimed that before E3 we will get some new Pokemon information in probably like a Pokemon Presents. We then had Samus Hunter, who is proving to be more and more credible as time goes on, also back this up, saying that they will actually have some new information presented at a Pokemon Presents, and she actually went into a couple specific details of what we can expect from these games to be revealed. So I do want to read through these here, and if she's spot on this with a Pokemon Direct and with the details that we actually see announced, we can really expect a lot of her other information that she's reported on up to this point to also hopefully be credible and come to fruition. But first, let's read through her tweets here. The Pokemon Company's plans are to revitalize interest in Unite after it was poorly received by the public. Announcing certain aspects along with the main game is one of their moves to appease fans. Then when talking about Diamond and Pearl remakes, she says here, while the remakes of Diamond and Pearl will begin to show the main differences from the originals with new forms in some Pokemon and the return of some mechanics that were abandoned in the new chapters, will be a mix of fidelity to the original game and novelty to attract old and new fans of the series. Despite complaints from players, even these titles will not have a national Pokedex. This title aims to be a single player experience while still embracing the multiplayer and competitive soul of the series. Then she goes on to talk about Legends Arceus, and she says it will have free exploration, the combat system will be a simplified version in the mechanics inherited from the titles of the main series, similar to Let's Go, but will deepen it with new mechanics mainly related to the trainer and the links with their Pokemon. And there's a couple more details that she goes into there with her tweets about these gameplay revisions and what we will probably expect from something like a Pokemon Presents before E3 2021 does take place from Nintendo. But I think that this is one that we can really expect to happen, and when we do see the official announcement from Nintendo, we will kind of know that now we're not going to be focusing on Pokemon at E3, and that we may be seeing a bunch of other games that are heavily rumored and leaked online right now, such as like the new Donkey Kong, definitely Breath of the Wild 2 news, which is what we're going to talk about next, because there's actually some new information floating around online out there. And I do want to give a big shout out to Game Over Jesse, because this actually comes straight from him, and I will have a link to his YouTube channel down below and the video where he really walks into full detail on what his sources are and what he is saying that will take place at E3 when it comes to Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, and specifically not actually having the Zelda's 35th anniversary blowout like I've been predicting this entire time at E3. Now, obviously, there's never been an official confirmation from Nintendo that we will see Zelda's 35th anniversary celebrated at E3 or at all for that fact, but I think a lot of fans kind of assumed that because we're so far into 2021 now and Mario's 35th anniversary is clearly done and over with as of March, that would transition us straight into the Zelda 35th anniversary celebration, and that is not necessarily what Nintendo has to do, as depending on how many games they actually have lined up for an official announcement and unveiling trailer spoilers at their E3 2021 presentation, they could very easily not want to overcrowd too many games at the same time and do what Game Over Jesse is suggesting, and that would be actually having the full 35th anniversary blowout direct as a totally separate event. Now maybe it gets mentioned at E3 according to this leak, but it doesn't necessarily have to have all of the titles revealed, and maybe we get something like a date to actually celebrate Zelda's 35th anniversary as opposed to it all being announced here and all the games that maybe Grezzo's working on and the different remasters and things. And then along in this leak, he does go into detail about Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask HD for sure coming to the Switch, and I do tend to agree with that full-heartedly, because honestly it's two of the games that will absolutely sell if you put them in a combo pack on the Switch. Nintendo knows they're just going to be printing money with that, as the 3DS version of those games was great, but they could easily port them over and remaster them just a little bit more and get such a huge bang for your buck when it comes to Nintendo fans, simply for the nostalgia factor of those games. And so that doesn't necessarily mean it's a part of the 35th anniversary game lineup, but at some point we will see Grezzo probably work on porting those over to the Switch with higher resolution and maybe even some, revised gameplay mechanics and things like that. But the big takeaway from all of this is that don't have your hopes set up too high to get every single Zelda game announced at E3, as Nintendo may trickle this out to be further, because we already have Skyward Sword HD on the books in July, and then we know we're going to be getting Breath of the Wild 2 information at E3, most likely with the release date. So depending on when Nintendo can deliver Breath of the Wild 2, I think that the rest of the anniversary kind of shifts around that, because they want all of these games to have their own little spotlight and have their own opportunity to sell, because you don't put out 5 to 7 different Zelda titles all at once at $60 a piece and say go buy all these. We still have Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD, which are very heavily rumored to be released this year, and we even have Andy Robinson backing that up, who's a very notable journalist from VGC. So there's a ton of Zelda information to come, but I think the big thing with this news is, if it is correct, and I'm not saying that it is 100%, but Game Over Jesse, who I do tend to believe, says he has a verified source that he knows works for Nintendo that is reporting this. So I do think that this is something that we should maybe temper our expectations for, to if we don't get all the Zelda games announced and we just get that big Breath of the Wild 2 gameplay trailer, and maybe even the title and the release date, then maybe we're happy with that, and that maybe Nintendo does break out Zelda's 35th anniversary into its own separate direct. But obviously this could go a ton of different directions, and things are fluid right now in the whole pandemic situation that we went through in 2020, and as we are trying to kind of get it back to a normal scenario in 2021, there is a bunch of moving parts with these companies, and I don't think that things are as set in stone as they appear to be. Now, the other and really last leak we're going to talk about today when it comes to the E3 plans for 2021, we have Jeff Grubb, who is obviously a figure in the gaming space online, and he has had a fantastic reputation when it comes to kind of just hinting at different things or leaking them out ahead of time, and most of the time they are true. Sometimes he likes to have fun with fans and troll people a little bit, and so some of that, take it with a grain of salt when you hear him say something like Nintendo will unveil their plans in the next week or two, but he does tend to have inside connections and he likes to hint things out like this, and he has actually gone on Reset Era and basically said that Nintendo will unveil what their E3 plans are within the next couple of weeks. And that does make sense, because we're probably, not going to walk into E3 starting on June 12th and just not know any of the dates that Nintendo or Microsoft are going live. Like, obviously these companies are going to have to announce it ahead of time. So while this is not really like a far out there prediction by any means, we may get some kind of like Nintendo Direct graphic with the exact date and time and what to expect from that Nintendo Direct, maybe even like the length of it, where sometimes Nintendo will say, hey, expect a 45-minute presentation, or expect roughly an hour of new gameplay announcements and things like that. And sometimes they even detail a couple titles that they'll be talking about. They normally don't give the big stuff, but they might say something like new Smash character DLC to be revealed at this event and different things like that. So I do think we should be on the lookout these next couple of weeks for the official plans from Nintendo and what they're going to be doing around their E3 schedule. But guys, at this point in the video, I want to know your opinions on what you think about all these leaks. Do you think Pokemon Presents is going to come out before E3 and actually be an event to detail these Pokemon games, or do you think think this will just simply be a part of Nintendo's E3 presentation? Then also the big one I want to know is, what do you think about Zelda's 35th anniversary if it doesn't happen at E3? Do you think Nintendo's just going to kind of gloss over this thing altogether and forget about it? Do you think it gets its own separate direct, or do you think even with these new reports that maybe we're still getting it at E3, which is a total possibility? So please leave me your thoughts on that, and then also let me know what you're thinking about if Nintendo will release their plans ahead of time, or if you think they'll wait super last minute to reveal any of their plans for E3 before you leave the video. And then also hop over to today's community poll, which is on the channel in the community tab, and you can go in there and cast your vote for when you think we will see Zelda's 35th anniversary celebration take place in light of this new info. So please make sure you do that before you leave the video. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I do truly appreciate you all sticking around until the end. I do at this point in the video want to invite you all one more time to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below. Hit the like button on your way out in this video if you enjoyed it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. That's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you all have a great day. Sunbro Nation, out.